The Garden Report is brought to you by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network.
Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome back to the Garden Report. Josue, Pavon jumping in here. Welcome back, and welcome back Jaylen Brown to the All-Star game. Third time he's going.
That's right. Man, that feels so long ago compared to what we just saw on this court. But yeah, that's right.
He's going back. He's also going to have to go back to the drawing board after this one because this was a clunker for him for sure. One we haven't seen in quite a while.
Yeah.
4-12 from the field, missed all his threes. 7 assists, which was good, but 3 turnovers in that first quarter as part of a 9-turnover quarter for the Celtics. Set them on the wrong path in this one, and he took responsibility for this loss after the game. And commented on Josue benching him alongside Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday 3 minutes into the third. Here was his reaction to that.
Joe pulled you and a couple of other guys, and you sat for the rest of the quarter. It doesn't happen to you very often. What are you kind of like stewing in that moment? Or you accept that as like, you know, you weren't playing well and you had to like just accept it? How does that work?
I don't know. I haven't been in that position too often, so you know, it kind of is what it is. You know, we weren't playing our best. I wasn't playing my best, so nothing I could really say there. You know, every time I step out in the court, I try to add the win. And tonight, you know, try to make sure I was being unselfish, getting the guys, but hitting our guys in stride and sharing the ball, you know, and stuff. But it was a little lackadaisical. It wasn't my best game, but you know, I put it behind me. I'll be ready for the next one.
So you're that all-star, you're that all-NBA guy at the top of this roster making the big bucks, and one of the self-proclaimed leaders of this team, one of the longest tenured guys. Whatever you want to list off as a reason he's going to be better than this, it's all valid. Right. And especially when it's that let-up game, when it's that mentality game, you have to get up for this with LeBron and Davis out. You're disappointed. I know everyone's going to look at Joe after this one and what he said, and it's all valid, of course. But you're looking at Tatum, who I think really tried like hell to get them back in this mentally with the yelling on the sideline and the dive for the loose ball. It was Jaylen at times who looked a little lost and out of the flow of the offense here.
I just don't like when it seems like he's sort of walking away from plays. And like when you see that version of Jaylen, especially on the defensive side, or you know,
his defense didn't shine through in this one.
The guy talking all defense, saying that he wants to put forth the effort there, which we've seen throughout the course of the regular season, but we didn't see it tonight. And I feel like in desperation mode, right? No Anthony Davis, no LeBron James. You're still down by double digits. It's the fourth quarter, midway through. I didn't see that sense of urgency, and that concerns me a little bit. I mean, I know in the grand scheme of things, the Celtics have had a terrific season. They had a heck of a month of January, right? I mean, before this game, I mean, you know, to start off the month this way, these type of things happen. And you know, Joe Mazzulla talking about if you thought that we're just going to cruise through the regular, well, no one thought that, Joe. But you know, you're waiting for them to respond in that second half, and you never saw that. You never felt like they even had a shot to win this game. And even though you get it down to 3 after the first quarter, which of course Joe mentioned and during his press conference. You want to see your guys show that sense of urgency. Tatum showed it a lot more than Jaylen, and especially after 3 minutes into the second half, you're benched alongside Kristaps Porzingis, who he said in the locker room he thought it was deserving for both of them, or for him at least. I guess he's speaking for himself. But I just, when Jaylen says like he's not used to these type of things, I get that. I like it. I understand he's not always in the quote-unquote the doghouse. This doesn't happen often, but I really can't wait to see how he responds, because I think it's really important for this team.
Yeah, and Porzingis specifically could join Jaylen in this All-Star game. Julius Randle ruled out 2 to 3 weeks, I believe, with the shoulder injury. Joel Embiid announced towards meniscus tonight, so that's going to be a long hiatus for him, absence, no matter how you look at it, no matter what the treatment is. So 2 potential all-star spots up for grabs. They could both be Celtics. I think more likely than not it's going to be that toss-up between Porzingis and White. And given that it's a couple big men out on that east side, I think Porzingis probably has a slight edge there. But that aside, you're looking for more from these guys in this game. You're looking for kind of that all-star presence from both of them here. And to me, the biggest concern, and we talked about it on the show, is just how frantic it looked for Brown, who was putting his head down and just laser focused on trying to get to the free throw line, ends up barreling into Rui, and Darvin Ham challenges it, and it gets reversed. And at that point, Celtics only had 3 free throw attempts. So that's an offensive execution problem. The transition defense, you talk about learning lessons and going through those blown leads and stuff. you want to actually learn from them. And it didn't seem to resonate in this one to me because, and Porzingis said this, you win those games against the Pelicans and the Pacers despite all the issues in those, and you don't come away from it feeling the bad things you did as much. It's the good things that turned the games around and led them to being wins. There were a couple games in January too, 17 turnovers against the Pacers, they won. That road game against Houston, 16 turnovers, they win that one. So 15 turnovers in this one end up hurting them.
Yeah.
And they have to feel that, I think. And I don't know, did you get a sense from Jaylen and Jason that they're gonna stew in this for a little bit, that they're going to really dig deep into this loss and try to pull things from it, or is it just still that turn the page approach for them?
It's still a turn the page approach, but we have to see the proof after the fact, and that's just sort of the way it's been with these two in terms of the way they lead and the way they guide this Celtics team. And most of the times they do respond in a big way. So you're waiting for that to happen on Sunday against a gritty Memphis Grizzlies team who's obviously going to give you a lot of physicality and want to win like they did last time. And of course, they want to do this for Marcus. You know, Marcus coming back here for the first time, Marcus Smart back in this building ever since being traded over the summer. So like all of that matters, especially for a team like the Memphis Grizzlies, which is not going to see the postseason. So, you know, these type of games they're going to get up for, and Celtics have to be ready for that. I just hope the Celtics will be in great position to build some type of run or fourth quarter drive to just close out games, because I never got the sense in this game that it was going to be close again. You know, after that offensive foul on Jaylen Brown, you're like, oh, well, here we go again, because Lakers go on one more run, this thing is over. And essentially it was, you know. So I hope that's not the case down the stretch. I'm going to bring up the fact that I want to see, you know, Kristaps Porzingis utilized more in terms of like getting the ball to him in the paint and just trying to draw up plays for him, because I do think he's so effective on that end of the floor that at times in the fourth quarter, because this team is so equipped and so used to turning to the Jays, they forget you still have Kristaps Porzingis. You see him more utilized more, I feel like, in the first half than you know, towards the end of the second half, and I hope that changes. You know, I hope this Celtics team, if they find themselves in a similar situation in the fourth quarter against this Memphis Grizzlies team, that's something that they'll turn to. And I feel like that's on Joe. That's on the coaching staff. That's on guys that have to make sure they put their team in position to win, you know, at all times, especially in desperation mode, down the stretch, down by double digits in the fourth quarter. Hopefully that won't happen, but it really wouldn't surprise me against this Memphis Grizzlies team, which I just feel like it's going to be a tough matchup for these guys.
So here we are again, Lowe, Hollinger, leading up to this All-Star vote. In Hollinger's case, not picking Brown, busting some dents into his case. Lowe doing the same and then actually picking him, which I think is where I'm at here on this debate of, is Brown actually an all-star? Is he worthy of being that all-NBA supermax kind of guy? This analytical profile, I get it. Like, there's some holes in that. They're not great with him on the floor compared to Tatum being out there in the second units alone. I get all of that. I just don't feel like, given what this team's done this year, that Porzingis and White, I guess White at certain points has been, but on the whole, I feel like in terms of responsibility, being a star, doing star things, Jaylen's still ahead of those guys. And a lot of that's just kind of the eye test and watching this team the game in and game out. Brown's doing the difficult things, the flashy things, the things you want to see in an all-star game.
The things that strike fears in opponents, especially, right? Yeah. That impacts winning, right?
That's why I think Lowe feels this way too. To me, he's still, and I love White, and I've really emphasized the things he does that glue this team together. You need that. Yeah. But the second star on this team is Brown to me, and I'm still going to stand by, even after a difficult game here, the efforts he's made to fit in, to sacrifice, to be a little bit more complimentary. Those hurt his numbers in my mind, especially the counting stats. And yeah, the analytical profile might not be amazing, but we see the difficult things he's able to do that put pressure on defenses, that make it easier for guys like Porzingis and White to have the nights they do.
I mean, and that's why he's that guy, right? You know, second to Tatum in a sense of, you know, the go-to guys on this team, but they're on top of the list of opposing teams' game plans. You know, so Jaylen has to feel that, he feels that resistance every single night, and he's able to still perform at a high level. Sure, his numbers have taken a hit somewhat compared to last year, but they all have. That's what happens when you have such a talented roster, you know, 1 through 7, or wherever you want to cut it off, you know, 1 through 6, whatever the case may be. Jaylen is at the top of that, you know, top 2, top 3. If you want to make the argument that Kristaps Porzingis is much more important to the Celtics team, you can
It'd
make that
be
case.
White. If I was
You think
gonna
it's
pick,
White
yeah,
out of the two?
And
Okay.
he slipped a little bit here. And
Yeah.
Jaylen had
He's
a rough
the glue.
start to the year.
I think he's the glue guy. But, I mean,
yeah.
either way, there's no way I feel like you can argue that that those two, in White and Porzingis, get more attention on the defense than Tatum and Brown. So I think you have to incorporate that when you think about his production overall. A handful of games where he's really had to carry the offense, exploded for however amount of points to help win the game. Tatum's done it a bunch, but Brown has done it as well. And I feel like that 1-2 punch has been deadly this season in the Eastern Conference. But I mean, yeah, having Porzingis and having Derek White, two guys that also enhance that offense, enhance that team on both ends of the floor, is a big reason why this team has the best record in the NBA. 5 games ahead of second, holding that number 1 spot by 5 games, which is the first time that's happened for the Celtics team since 2008. Those two guys in White and Porzingis have a whole lot to do with that, but I don't think they eclipse what Tatum and Brown have to deal with on a nightly basis.
Winning a big factor, and I do think Brown's second in terms of the nightly importance in that hierarchy. So do the other guys join them? They're obviously super important too. You're not going to have 3 spots, certainly not 4. We'll see if they do get an injury replacement.
Kristaps should be an injury replacement. That's my guess for Randall, but we'll wait and see. I mean,
what do you think?
There's other names out there.
Did Brown deserve it? Does Porzingis get in? Let us know below. Check out my chat with Kobe Price about the Lakers and this game, how it went the way it did. Over on Celtics All Access here. Make sure you subscribe there for some practice coverage on Saturday. Marcus's return on Sunday. We got some messages from fans to him coming your way.
That was fun, yo, guys. Everyone who participated in that, man, we had a blast. Really appreciate the support. Love the kind words, and of course, great interviews, great entertaining, fun interviews that we had with a lot of these Celtics fans before and at halftime.
And check out all the post-game reaction on CLNS Media. He's Josue Pavon. I'm Bobby Manning. Jaylen Brown's an all-star, but falters in this loss to the Lakers, 114-105. He gets back out there on Sunday against Marcus Smart's Grizzlies.
Go to HelloFresh.com/CLNSFree and use the code CLNSFree for free breakfast for life. That's 1 breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/CLNSFree with code CLNSFree.